Tables. One of the things we all hate in a report is looking and trying to read through tables. It's a fact. But if you're going to go to work for any government agency or any NGO, you're going to have to do tables. If you go to work for a consulting firm, you're going to have to do tables. And even in some publications, yeah, you're going to have to do tables. So we're going to spend a little time starting out here with tables, sort of how we can manipulate our data and present our data using tables. We're not going to get into stats or testing anything right now, but making a pretty table is a pretty cool thing to be able to do. We have a separate section on doing this using pivot tables in Excel. This section is on using JMP's tabulate. So without further ado, we're going to jump over to JMP. Please open it up. And if you've downloaded the data, you'll have something called bugsplitter.jmp. You might have to import it from Excel. I'm going to assume you have bugsplitter. So we're going to go ahead and open that up, talk about what the variables are, and then make a table out of it. So this is a stacked data set that used to have counts. These would be the counts for each taxa in a region, by a season, has some location names, and then the calendar year it was collected. And so we have all these lovely things we could split or create tables by. There is a tables function. It is not the one we're going to use right now. We're going to use the analyze and tabulate because it's going to give us some quicker tables in the way that we want them. This is going to be a little bit like a pivot table analysis in Excel. So we're going to go to analyze and we're going to go to tabulate, and it gives us a nice drop zone feature here. So the attribute we're going to drop here, and hopefully those are going to be the bugs. It's automatically going to give us the N there. So we could stop there if that's all we needed. We might want to, these are sorted alphabetically. We might want to leave them that way if finding the taxa is really what's important to you. But we could sort them. We could go to tabulate and we'll have to do done to do the sorts. So we'll go ahead and do, here we go, order by count of grouping column, boom. There we go. So largest to smallest, most to least popular. That doesn't mean most to least important. These are mayflies, and those are biting midges, aquatic worms. That one's easy. Right, so it's sometimes you have things that say flatworm because identifying the different species of flatworm is just rough. Without the genetics, maybe not doable. But we'd actually like to split this by season. So I'm going to drop that over into the N, and it's going to split us. We have spring and fall, and that's kind of nice. And we might want to also split that by ecoregion, which I'm going to go and put it, there we go. And so if I had put that below the season, it would have moved that down there, but this is the way I like my table. I want my table. I've got it. So I think that's to show you how quickly we can get a nice looking table in tabulate using jump. And then if we had to put this out, we can do done. And there we go. You have a lovely looking table. Sometimes you might want to add the graphic to that. So in tabulate, we're going to drop down. Show chart. Of course, it doesn't show it, but it's down here below it. So there we go. So we have a lovely chart showing it. Basically, it's mayflies. So these are two rural areas with relatively good water quality. And spring or fall, you're going to have lots and lots of mayflies. You can see West Virginia has a lot higher abundance versus the Cascade region, but I don't know how heavily they sampled in either one of them. Maybe they had a crazy George Maravich in West Virginia running around collecting bugs, and that guy likes to collect bugs. So, and the Cascade team, well, maybe they had something better to do, like go back to Portland, which is a really fun town. All right, so that's it. There's our tabulate. You'll get an exercise on this, and that's pretty cool. We're going to save script on that. And we're going to save it to the data table. So if we needed to redo this, I might want to name it. Oh, that's going to be okay for right now. And so that's our table. All right, so stepping ahead here, we have one more thing we want to do. How do we get these tables into Word or someplace else like that? In this little thing right here, you notice it will bring you back what you'd like, and we're going to go to our selector tool, big fat plus here, and we're going to go ahead and select that whole table. We're going to right click and copy it. Then we're going to bounce over to a Word document, and we can Control V to paste it, but then it gives us this Z. So I'm going to Control Z, and we're going to go to paste and the picture, and there we go. So we have our nicely formatted shaded table that we could put titles on and stuff like that back in JMP, but that's probably not the best time or place to do it because it can create some issues when we start renumbering things and that. So well, let's go back and see if that works with our lovely graph as well at the bottom. So we're going to use our fat plus, Control C, bounce back over again, and we're going to paste that as a picture again, slide down, and sure enough, there's our lovely graph. Again, probably we would need to split this into mayflies and other stuff if we want to look at the other stuff, because clearly these aren't zeros, but in the sense of what we're doing today, they're pretty close. So if we have this in here, I took it out, but if we still had our column percent in there, we wanted to actually see it. You see this uniform plot scale here? We can go ahead and uncheck that, and then it will allow the percentages to show up. But the column percentages and the numbers should look fairly similar, but again, they should follow. But in some cases, you see some of these smaller ones popping up. It gives some consistency. We can do some things with colors and things like that, but this is pretty okay for what we want. Getting too much into the colors and that's probably not what we want to do, and that's good here. And then we can go to done, and pretty good. Now down here at the bottom, you can arrange this, you can combine these windows, you can look at the original data. It gives you some other options and a few things to do like that, which is really quite nice. The other thing I wanted to show here quickly is that you can turn it into a data table, and the nice thing about that, you see, is that it turns this craziness up here, puts all of the label back together for you. It's N, percents, and all of that. So you have a data table now that we could do one more thing with. I'm going to go ahead and remove these. I'm going to remove the percentages. All right, and then we can go to tables, and we can go to stack, and we will take all of these columns and put them over there, and it should give us the attribute, and then we'll see here in a minute. Oh, it's going to stack by row and eliminate missing rows. We're going to leave all of this the same, and we're going to say okay. All right, so now we have these for the different areas and the data that go along with them, and this would allow us to go and do things like analysis of variance and other things. So the next thing that's really nice about the table feature here is that once you've got the table, it can help you put the data into the format that you want. So it's a little bit display and it's a little bit data wrangling.